The National Electrical Code mandates that non-metallic sheath cable, specifically NMB cable, must be supported within 12 inches of an electrical panel. This requirement is crucial for ensuring the integrity and safety of the electrical installation. The purpose of the support is to prevent strain on the cable connections inside the panel and to maintain the cable's position, preventing it from being damaged or creating a hazardous situation. The support can be achieved through various methods, including the use of staples, straps, or listed wire ties. The key is that the method used must be listed, meaning it has been tested and approved by a recognized testing laboratory to meet specific safety standards. The intent of the code is that the cable is secured in such a way that it will not be easily dislodged or damaged. This 12-inch rule is not superseded by the UL listing of a box connector, such as a DOTI manufactured 1/2-inch box connector. While the connector itself may be UL listed, its listing does not cover the support requirement for the cable. The connector's function is to provide a secure connection between the cable and the electrical panel enclosure, but it does not negate the need for additional support to keep the cable properly positioned and protected. It's important to understand the distinction between the connector's function and the cable support requirement. The connector ensures the cable is properly terminated within the panel, while the support, provided by staples, straps, or listed wire ties, ensures the cable is secured and protected outside the panel. When installing NMB cable near an electrical panel, always ensure that the cable is supported within 12 inches of the panel using an appropriate listed method. This will help to ensure a safe and compliant electrical installation. Let's elaborate further on the specifics of the support methods. Firstly, staples are a common and effective way to support NMB cable. These are typically metal or plastic fasteners designed to be driven into wood or other suitable surfaces. When using staples, it is crucial to ensure that they are specifically listed for use with NMB cable. This listing ensures that the staple will not damage the cable's outer jacket or the conductors inside. The staple should be installed in a way that provides secure support without compressing or distorting the cable. Overdriving the staples can damage the cable, while underdriving them may not provide adequate support. Secondly, straps are another viable option for supporting NMB cable. Straps are typically made of metal or plastic and are designed to wrap around a cable and be secured to a mounting surface. Like staples, it is essential to use straps that are listed for use with NMB cable. The straps should be sized appropriately for the cable being supported to ensure a snug and secure fit. When installing straps, avoid over-tightening them, as this can damage the cable. Thirdly, wire ties, also known as cable ties, are a convenient and versatile option for supporting NMB cable, particularly in situations where staples or straps may be difficult to install. However, it is crucial to use only wire ties that are specifically listed for use in electrical applications and suitable for supporting cables. These listed wire ties are typically made of durable, UV-resistant materials and are designed to withstand the environmental conditions in which they are installed. When using wire ties, ensure that they are tightened sufficiently to provide adequate support without compressing the cable. It is also important to use an appropriate number of wire ties to properly support the cable along its length. In addition to these common support methods, other listed means may be used to support an NMB cable depending on the specific installation requirements and the available mounting surfaces. It is always advisable to consult the National Electrical Code and local electrical codes for specific requirements and recommendations. The NEC provides detailed guidelines for the installation and support of electrical cables, including an NMB cable. It is essential to follow these guidelines to ensure a safe and compliant electrical installation. Failure to properly support an NMB cable can lead to a variety of problems, including strain on cable connections, damage to the cable's outer jacket, and potential electrical hazards. In addition, improper support can result in code violations and potential liability issues. Therefore, it is crucial to pay close attention to the support requirements for NMB cable and to use appropriate listed methods to ensure that the cable is properly secured. When working with electrical systems, it is always important to prioritize safety. To energize the circuit before working on any electrical components. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, consult a qualified electrician. Now let's consider some specific scenarios where the 12-inch support rule is particularly important. One common scenario is when running NMB cable through a wall or ceiling and into an electrical panel. In this case, the cable must be supported within 12 inches of the point where it enters the panel. This support prevents the weight of the cable from pulling on the connections inside the panel. Another scenario is when running NMB cable along the wall or ceiling. In this case, the cable must be supported at intervals not exceeding 4.5 feet, as well as within 12 inches of any boxes or fittings. This support prevents the cable from sagging or becoming damaged. It is also important to consider the environment in which the NMB cable is being installed. In damp or wet locations, it is essential to use support methods that are suitable for those conditions. For example, stainless steel staples or straps may be used to prevent corrosion. In addition, it is important to protect the cable from physical damage. If the cable is exposed to potential impact or abrasion, it should be protected by conduit or other suitable means. The NEC also addresses the issue of bundling NMB cables. When multiple cables are bundled together, it is important to ensure that they are properly supported. The NEC specifies the maximum number of cables that can be bundled together without requiring additional support. In general, the more cables that are bundled together, the more support that is required. It is also important to avoid overcrowding cables in electrical panels. Overcrowding can make it difficult to work on the panel and can also increase the risk of electrical hazards. The NEC specifies a maximum number of conductors that can be installed in an electrical panel based on the size of the panel and the ampacity of the conductors. When installing NMB cable in an electrical panel, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for the panel. The manufacturer's instructions will provide specific guidance on how to properly terminate the cable and how to ensure that the panel is properly grounded. It is also important to be aware of any local amendments to the NEC. Some jurisdictions may have additional requirements for the installation of NMB cable. It is always advisable to check with the local electrical inspector to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. In summary, the 12-inch support rule for NMB cable near electrical panels is a critical safety requirement that must be followed to ensure safe and compliant electrical installation. The support can be achieved through various methods, including the use of staples, straps, or listed wire ties. It is essential to use only listed methods and to follow the manufacturer's instructions for the cable and the electrical panel. By following these guidelines, you can help to prevent electrical hazards and ensure that your electrical system is safe and reliable. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is always best to consult a qualified electrician if you are not comfortable working with electricity. Always prioritize safety and follow all applicable codes and regulations. Let's take a moment to discuss some common mistakes that people make when installing NMB cable. One common mistake is using staples or straps that are not listed for use with NMB cable. These non-listed fasteners may damage the cable's outer jacket or the conductors inside, which can create a safety hazard. Another common mistake is over-tightening staples or straps. Over-tightening can compress the cable and damage the insulation, which can also create a safety hazard. Another mistake is failing to support the cable at the proper intervals. As mentioned earlier, the NEC requires that NMB cable be supported at intervals not exceeding 4.5 feet, as well as within 12 inches of any boxes or fittings. Failing to provide adequate support can cause the cable to sag or become damaged. Another mistake is using improper methods to protect the cable from physical damage. If the cable is exposed to potential impact or abrasion, it should be protected by conduit or other suitable means. Another mistake is overcrowding cables in electrical panels. Overcrowding can make it difficult to work on the panel and can also increase the risk of electrical hazards. To avoid these mistakes, it is important to carefully read and follow the NEC and the manufacturer's instructions for the cable and the electrical panel. It is also important to use only listed materials and to take your time to ensure that the installation is done correctly. If you are unsure about any aspect of the installation, it is always best to consult a qualified electrician. Now let's delve a little deeper into the specific requirements for supporting NMB cable in different types of construction. In wood frame construction, staples or straps can be used to support the cable directly to the wood framing members. The staples or straps should be installed in a way that provides secure support without compressing or distorting the cable. In metal frame construction, it may be necessary to use special fasteners or clamps that are designed to attach to the metal framing members. These fasteners should be listed for use with NMB cable and should be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. In concrete or masonry construction, it may be necessary to use anchors or fasteners that are specifically designed for use in these materials. These anchors should be installed in a way that provides secure support for the cable without damaging the concrete or masonry. It is also important to consider the fire resistance rating of the building when installing NMB cable. In some cases, it may be necessary to use fire-rated cable or to protect the cable with fire-resistant materials. The NEC provides specific requirements for fire-stopping and fire-resistant construction. In addition to the general requirements for supporting NMB cable, there are also some specific requirements for supporting cable in certain types of locations. For example, in damp or wet locations, it is essential to use support methods that are suitable for those conditions. As mentioned earlier, stainless steel staples or straps may be used to prevent corrosion. In hazardous locations, such as areas where flammable materials are present, it is necessary to use special types of cable and support methods that are designed to prevent ignition. The NEC provides detailed requirements for hazardous locations. It is also important to consider the potential for physical damage when installing NMB cable in certain types of locations. For example, in areas where there is a risk of impact or abrasion, the cable should be protected by conduit or other suitable means. In summary, the requirements for supporting NMB cable can vary depending on the type of construction, the location, and the potential for physical damage. It is important to carefully consider all of these factors when installing NMB cable and to follow all applicable codes and regulations. By doing so, you can help to ensure a safe and compliant electrical installation. Finally, let's discuss the importance of documentation and record keeping. It is always a good practice to document the installation of NMB cable, including the location of the cable runs, the type of support methods used, and any other relevant information. This documentation can be helpful for future maintenance and repairs. It is also important to keep records of any inspections or tests that are performed on the electrical system. These records can be used to demonstrate compliance with applicable codes and regulations. In addition, it is important to provide the homeowner or building owner with a copy of the electrical system documentation. This documentation can be helpful for them in understanding how the electrical system works and how to maintain it. In conclusion, the proper support of NMB cable is a critical aspect of electrical safety. By following the guidelines and recommendations outlined in this discussion, you can ensure that your electrical installations are safe, compliant, and reliable. Always remember to prioritize safety and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. Now to summarize, the crucial points to remember are: firstly, always support an NMB cable within 12 inches of the electrical panel. Secondly, use listed staples, straps, or wire ties. Thirdly, do not rely solely on the connector for support. Fourthly, follow the National Electrical Code and local codes. Fifthly, prioritize safety and consult with a qualified electrician if needed. By adhering to these principles, you contribute to a safer electrical environment. Remember, the integrity of the electrical system depends on every detail, including proper cable support.